engineers. Sounds a little embittered, maybe. Is it American culture that's the problem?
Somebody got stuffed in a locker. I'm not going to say who. Look, I think there's a way to solve this and talk about this that doesn't denigrate all of American culture. I mean, I'm now understanding more and more how he got 100 votes in Iowa or whatever it was he got during the Iowa caucus. The reality is, and Elon, by the way, clarified or further explained his position later and was talking about saying, I want to bring in the top 0.1% of engineering talent from around the world. It's like bringing in a Jokic or a Wembyana to help your whole team if you want to make a comparison to the NBA. So I think we can bring in the absolute top talent from around the world and at the same time not insult the rest of the United States of America and our culture and the way we do things here, and also lift up the American students who have the talent and who have the interest and put them in the right educational opportunities. I think what he did today was to overtalk it. A lot of MAGA people are not happy. A lot of Republicans are not happy. And this is why Donald Trump's in the Oval Office, and he's
saying
a
something
volunteer.
that a lot of people apparently believe, that it's about like the jocks being celebrated, the football stars being celebrated, and not the nerds.
It also challenges, actually raises the idea that many immigrant families have when they come to the United States, that if they just get the right grades and they follow this meritocracy path, everything's going to work out and they'll be great. And the reality is that innovation, creativity, emotional intelligence are a huge part of success and innovation in the United States. American innovation is what sets us apart from the Communist Party of China. But this idea that immigrants often come with also has a baked in racism to it. It's this idea that, well, we as immigrants are the right kind, we're educated, we're not like those other minorities in America. And that distinction is made very clear within minority communities. So for example, most people would not know that the richest and most educated immigrant population is Nigerian Americans. People would think it's Indian Americans, yet Nigeria was put on the Muslim ban list, right? There is this idea of who the model minority is, breeds that kind of challenge that we have with Korean grocers in Black neighborhoods.
I think you're getting at something else important here, which is that we need all different kinds of learning and we need all different kinds of cultures. I mean, you made a great point about vocational schools. It's not just about math or the jocks, which is social skills, frankly, which matter. Actually, it's interesting that most CEOs come out of state schools and aren't necessarily the straight A students. You need to change education in this country. You need to value different kinds of skills. I actually think the idea of a meritocracy built just on, who gets the best SAT scores. And, I'm the child of immigrants, don't get me wrong. I grew up in rural Indiana, though I was also a cheerleader. You can do both, I think that you do need a system to be revamped in a way that we haven't done since the post-World War II period in this country.
Okay, I have to get you in on this because I think Rana's talking about something very important, which is there's a movement to sort of say, let's give everybody points for their grades and their SAT scores and their IQs, and then let's put them in college based on that. And if you did that, you would not actually get to the most successful people, the people who have the best potential. So that seems to honestly undermine this idea of a pure meritocracy, which is what Vivek Ramaswamy is talking about here.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a paradox here because the point about IQ and SATs and entrance exams is not necessarily that they are that they measure the inherent worth or the full 3D capacity of a human being. Because as you say, there's all these other important skills in life, and we all know this, right? It's that they are objective. Right. And what we saw, for instance, they're more objective than the alternatives, right? There's no such thing as perfect objectivity on these tests, right? But when you look at what happened at Harvard with affirmative action, they were judging on all these soft skills as well, and their conclusion was that Asian American applicants had worse personalities, right? So the test is never going to do that. The test, it's never going to tell you unfairly that you got this math problem wrong, because if you got it wrong, you got it wrong. And there's something very attractive about that, especially to people from immigrant communities coming to a new country saying, they may not like my vibe, they may not like my culture, but they can't argue with my skill.